To start 2025, let's dive into the progress and development of rail projects across Canada in 2024. From coast to coast, there's always plenty to cover. Before we dive in, a huge thank you to everyone joining us here on YouTube, as well as on our Discord and social medias. Your support means a lot as we continue to share the progress and excitement around those transformative projects. If you haven't done so already, be sure to check out trailfans.ca for the latest project snapshots, news updates, and exclusive content. And while you're at it, follow us on social medias and make sure to check out our new merch collection to show your support for transit across the country. In Quebec City, it has been quite a year. In brief, following the mandate to CDPQ Infra by the government to come back with the best plan for the city, you won't believe what the preferred option was. A tramway network. We are shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked. Since then, an agreement has been reached between the city, provincial government, and CDPQ to define the framework for the first phase. On December 19, 2024, CDPQ issued the first notice to the market to help build and design the line. With all those unnecessary delays, the 19-kilometer line between Legendre and Charlebourg is expected to open in 2033, with the contracts to be awarded in 2025, leading up to a co-development phase. Until the design is finalized, preliminary work will continue along the alignment. In Montreal, work continues on the Réseau Express Métropolitain downtown tunnel and eastern branches. Guideway and OCS construction has been completed along the two branches, with some works remaining in the Montreal tunnel. For a few weeks now, trains have been operating at commercial speeds along those sections. At the stations, finishing works are ongoing as many work sites are transitioning into final works. The underground stations are progressing well and should be ready alongside the start of testing activities in the tunnel, expected to start in spring 2025. The Anse-à-l'Orme and Deux Montagnes branches are expected to open in fall 2025. Work also continues along the airport branch. Marie Curie station is advancing significantly, with the structure built and fittings being installed throughout. Works in the tunnel are progressing well as concrete pouring at the site of Airport Station to build out this structure. The final branch to Montreal Trudeau is expected to open in 2027. Work finally started on the Blue Line extension. No, you are not dreaming! In February, the contract for replacing the control systems for both the extension and the existing Blue Line was awarded. Then, in August 2024, the contract for tunneling the extension was finally awarded, which is expected to begin in 2026. Excavation began in September at various sites to build station entrances and ventilation shafts essential for the line. With construction now underway, the extension is expected to open in 2031. In Ottawa, something almost happened in 2024. On January 6, 2025, Line 2 and Line 4 finally opened, marking the first completed projects of the Stage 2 LRT in Ottawa. Make sure to check out our extensive coverage of the line's opening, as well as the various behind-the-scenes opportunities we got throughout the past to learn more about its operation, maintenance, and construction. In the east, work on the extension of Line 1 continues to progress. Construction of the Guideway and OCS was completed in early 2024, allowing for the first train to move on its own power between Blair and Montreal Road at the end of January 2024. Construction of the 5 new stations has progressed considerably, with most stations close to completion. Integration testing with the existing segment of Line 1 took place in October and December 2024, allowing trains to operate from Tunney's Pasture all the way to Trim. Testing activities will continue in the coming months, alongside the finalization of station construction. The eastern extension of Line 1 is now expected to open in the second half of 2025. In the West, 2024 has been marked by significant milestones. In April, we had the chance to explore the Kitchi-Zibi-Mécan tunnel, and since then, tunnel construction has been mostly completed, with track installation has progressed from the new terminus at Moody to the tunnel portal at Lincoln Fields. Station work is advancing rapidly, with trim and finishes being installed at most locations. In September, the Corkstown Light Maintenance and Storage Facility was completed, welcoming the first LRV for dynamic testing to begin in 2025. OCS installation and station construction will continue through 2025, as tunnel tracks installation progresses and testing begins, with the western extension slated to open in 2027. In the Greater Toronto and Hamilton area, a multitude of projects are actively progressing. Digi Stardust continues building the single-bore tunnel for the 7.8km Scarborough subway extension, with Edwall construction and the extraction shaft progressing. While most of the work is happening underground, utilities relocation continues along the alignment to enable for the construction of the stations in the future. Work also progressed with the removal of the Progress Avenue Bridge, allowing for the preparation of the site for the future Scarborough Centre Station. The Scarborough Transit Connect Consortium continues working with Metrolinx to finalize the design of the stations, systems, and rail. The Line 2 extension is still on track to open by 2030. The Yonge North Subway Extension project continues to advance. Early works at Finch were completed by the end of 2023, enabling for the construction of the extension in the future. While the tunneling request for proposals was initiated in December 2023, we still have not heard who was selected by Metrolinx to build the tunnels required for the extension. Following the Scarborough extension model, Metrolinx will commence procurement for the guideway, stations, and system development once the tunneling contract is finalized. The extension is currently slated to open in 2030. In December, the TTC issued a request for proposals to procure 55 new trains for Line 2, replacing the T1 rolling stock currently being used. The new fleet, financed by all levels of governments, will be combined with the implementation of ATC along the line, allowing for more frequent and faster service. The first trains are expected to be delivered in 2030 and also include an option for 150 additional trains to support future growth and the replacement of the Line 1 trains in the future. Progress on the Ontario line continues to advance as all major contracts have now been awarded. In January 2024, the paved tunnel and underground stations contract was signed, followed by the elevated guideway and station contract in February. Those were the two final contracts to be awarded, marking a significant milestone as full construction is now underway. To the east, railway bridge upgrades have been completed, clearing the way for GO trains to use the new tracks and make room for the Ontario Line guideway. In downtown Toronto, work sites are now active, with various TTC streetcars detour and ongoing upgrades at Queen Station for the new underground station. Construction is also progressing at King Bathurst and Moss Park stations. The eastern portal for the downtown tunnel is under construction, while in the west, a new north entrance at Exhibition ensures connectivity during construction. The 15.6km automated subway is expected to open by 2031. Work on the Eglinton Crosstown continued in 2024, despite the delays in commissioning and testing that were revealed in 2023. More of the same was seen in 2024, with new software issues that need to be resolved before the line can open. These issues are expected to be addressed by the start of 2025. In parallel, commissioning and testing activities continue throughout the year, including emergency response scenarios in September. With testing almost complete, Metrolinx believes that they are in the final stretch to deliver the 19.5km east-west line. The final major test, a revenue service demonstration, is expected to take place in the first half of 2025 and pave the way for the line's opening later in the year. Further west, the Crosstown West extension continues to make great strides. The excavation of the longest tunnels of the extension, between Renfort and Scarlett Station, were completed in June 2024, marking the completion of the first major contract of the project. The second contract for the remaining tunnels, between Jane and Mount Dennis, was awarded in February 2024 and work started in late 2024. Additionally, the RFP for the stations, rail, and systems was issued on September 27, following the completion of the RFQ in March. At the end of the RFP, a private partner will be retained to help develop and build the remaining elements of the line and should be selected in summer 2025. Metrolinx still targets an early 2030s opening date for the project, though the timeline might evolve during the co-development phase. While Finch West LRT did not open in 2024, significant progress was made throughout the year. Major construction milestones were reached, including the completion of major works at Humber College, Finch West, and all other stations along the route. Testing of the Alstom Citadis Spirits vehicles reached a key milestone in May 2024, with trains operating along the full length of the alignment for the first time. Since then, testing has ramped up to getting closer to passenger revenue service with 15 trains on the line operating at the same time. Despite this progress, some final construction, commissioning activities, and system integration works remains to be completed before full systems testing can occur. The Finch West LRT is on track to open for passenger service in the second half of 2025. The Euro-Ontario LRT between Port Credit and Brampton continues to take shape. Guideway construction along Euro-Ontario Street has advanced significantly, with concrete slab and track installation progressing throughout the alignment. While overhead catenary system installation has not yet begun, track installation through most intersections is making steady progress. Stations are also taking shape, with concrete pouring and the installation of structural elements at many sites. The first full canopies were installed at Derry Road in March 2024. The elevated section at Highway 403 reached a major milestone in October, with most of the structural work now completed. This progress clears the way for slab and track installation to begin soon. The maintenance and storage facility is now mostly complete and will support testing activities along the full length of the line once track installation is finalized. Alstom is manufacturing the City de Spirit vehicles for the Ontario LRT at their Brampton facility, a few kilometers north of the line. Initial vehicle testing will take place at the MSF and along the connecting track near Highway 407. Metrolinx has not provided an updated timeline for the line to open. In addition to the ongoing works, the province and Metrolinx have approved a business case which will allow for the City Centre Loop construction and a further extension of the line in Brampton, though no official funding or procurement process has begun for those projects yet. In Hamilton, advanced early works for the Hamilton LRT have continued throughout the year, with utilities relocation and more advanced works expected to take place in 2025. In November 2024, Metrolinx released the request for qualifications for the civil and utilities work, the first step in building the new line. It is expected that the qualified bidders will proceed to the request for proposals in 2025. No timeline or targeted opening date has been provided at this time. The largest rail expansion program in North America, the GO Expansion Program, continues to take shape across the region. From the construction of new tracks and infrastructure to the modernization of the guideway, the scope of the project is unparalleled. Throughout 2024, significant progress was made, with major works including the widening of various rights-of-ways to allow for additional tracks, bridges, and infrastructure improvements. Key projects like the East Harbour Transit Hub and upgrades at Union Station also advanced, laying the groundwork for future capacity increases. While ON Express was supposed to take over operations and maintenance of the network beginning January 1, 2025, the takeover has been pushed to a later date that has not yet been confirmed. The development phase for the ON Corridor works continued with critical geotechnical surveys and planning activities across the network. Metrolinx is preparing for the large-scale construction with the establishment of logistical hubs at 3 strategic sites. These hubs will house materials and equipment close to where they'll be needed, ensuring efficient delivery and minimizing disruptions for passengers. Metrolinx has also procured rail maintenance equipment, including 3 tamping machines and ballast regulators, set to arrive in 2025. This equipment will enhance construction capability and support the long-term maintenance of the network. In parallel, enabling works to allow for the completion of the electrification program, signaling improvements, and implementing the European train control system are continuing across the GO network. These upgrades are an essential part of the complex plan to achieve faster and more frequent service. A new addition to this series, the Northlander service between Union Station in Toronto and Timmins, with the new connections to Cochrane, will restore service along the pre-2012 alignment of the route of the same name. Following the acquisition of 3 new Siemens Venture train sets in December 2022, the Government of Ontario awarded in May 2024 3 additional contracts for the pre-built station shelters, track improvements, warning system upgrades, as well as station platforms. Once completed, the Northlander will service 16 stops and operate 4 to 7 days a week depending on the season. Ontario Northland is expected to restart operations in 2026. High-frequency rail procurement progressed in 2024, with the 3 qualified bidders submitting their detailed bids and proposals to the VIA HFR team. CEO Martin Imbeau actively engaged with the business community and medias, promoting the project at various conferences and symposiums. In October, sources reported to Radio-Canada that the federal government is now leaning towards a 300 km/h high-speed train proposal instead of the originally planned 200 km/h line. While no official confirmation has been made on the selected bidder or the final proposal, more information is expected in the coming months. If approved, high-frequency rail is expected to be operational in the mid-2030s. Construction of the Valley Line West extension advanced in 2024, which will extend the line from downtown Edmonton to Lewis Farms. In downtown Edmonton, utilities relocation and road realignment are paving the way for guideway construction and track installation in various phases. Key milestones this year include the first rails being laid in July, the last pillar for the elevated guideway in July as well, and ultimately the opening of the Stony Plain Road Bridge in November. The construction of the elevated guideway and the building of stations at Misericordia and West Edmonton Mall are underway, as well as the installation of the necessary utilities for the entire alignment, including drainage, electrical supply, and rehabilitation work for the work sites. At Lewis Farms, the facility is nearing completion, with tracks being installed and the structure fully enclosed. Design of the Hyundai Rotem rolling stock is being finalized for production to begin soon. The city targets completion of the Valley Line West extension by 2028. The Metro Line Northwest extension will extend the line to the city limits of Edmonton in 3 phases. Phase 1 opened on January 20, 2024, extending the line by 1.6 km, replacing the former Nate station, which is currently being demolished. Passengers can now use the permanent Nate Blatchford Market station. Blatchford Gate station will open once the surrounding area is developed at a future date. For Phase 2, acquisitions have progressed to ensure the right-of-way is protected for future construction once additional funding is made available for the project to advance. Phase 3 to Campbell Road remains in the design phase for the time being. No timeline has been provided for the 2 remaining phases. Work on the Capital Line South extension advanced in 2024, with early works continuing throughout the year. In June, the City of Edmonton awarded the design-build contract for Phase 1 of the project to Ledcor, with AECOM as their design partner. Detailed design work is now underway, with major construction along 111th Street expected to begin in 2025. The first phase is targeted for completion within 4 to 5 years. In Calgary, 2024 was a pivotal year for the Green Line. Early works continued throughout the year, but rising costs led the city to approve a shortened alignment in July. In response, the provincial government withdrew its funding, prompting the city to wind down the Green Line Board and project in September. Despite this setback, the city and province announced plans in the fall to continue construction in the southeast, while reassessing the downtown alignment. In December, the province proposed a new plan, featuring an elevated downtown guideway and a Grand Central station to support future commuter and high-speed rail connections. While downtown work remains paused as discussions continue, construction in the southeast is ongoing. A decision on the revised alignment is expected in early 2025, leaving the future of the Green Line uncertain at this time. In Vancouver, the Broadway Subway project reached several key milestones in 2024 in extending the Millennium Line westward. The tunnel boring machines, Elsie and Phyllis, successfully completed their tunneling work in March and April, carving out the 2 parallel tunnels for the extension. Since then, crews have focused on constructing the guideway platforms and installing essential systems to ensure safe and reliable operations in the tunnel. Construction work is progressing rapidly at all 6 underground stations, with significant progress on station roofs and concrete pours. Crews have completed concrete piers for the roof at most stations, while interior construction is set to ramp up in 2025. Notably, at South Grenville Station, the first SkyTrain platform for the project has been completed, with work advancing on the concourse level above. The elevated guideway between VCC Clark and Great Northern Way is now taking shape. With concrete work completed, track installation is now underway and will, over the coming months, continue within the tunnel. The Millennium Line extension is expected to open in 2027. The proposed extension of the Millennium Line from Arbutus to UBC saw limited progress in 2024. Design work and the development of the business case continued under the province leadership, but no major milestones were reached during the year. During the provincial election, Premier David Eby reiterated his commitment to building the UBC extension. However, no additional funding or new details about the projects have been announced since the election. The Surrey-Langley SkyTrain extension, which will add 16 kilometers of elevated tracks to the Expo line, made significant strides in 2024. In March, Skylink Guideway partners were awarded the contract to design and construct the elevated guideway, including early works and active transportation elements. This was followed in April by the selection of South Fraser Station partners to build the stations and Transit Integrators BC to implement systems and track work. Community engagement initiatives have been underway since June to refine station designs. Major works began in November as worksites are starting to become active. Prefabricated segments will be built in a temporary factory being built in Surrey and transported as piers are being completed over the coming years. With all key contracts now in place, the project is on track for an anticipated opening in 2028. Before we wrap up, one last project to highlight: the Via Rail long distance fleet replacement. Via has launched a request for qualification for locomotives and cars to replace its long-distance, regional and remote fleet. This is just the beginning of a decade-long process that will see Via Rail's entire fleet across Canada replaced with modern, accessible and sustainable trains. We've already explored the importance of this project in our recent Montreal Maintenance Center visit video, where we got a first-hand look at the work being done to maintain the current fleet and why this new long-distance fleet is essential for the future of rail in Canada. It is expected to be delivered by the end of 2035. And that's a wrap on our look back at 2024. While the year might not have seen as many openings as we hoped, the progress across Canada's rail project has been nothing short of inspiring. With so much on the horizon, 2025 is set to be a transformative year for transit across the country. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to Railfans Canada, follow us on social medias, and visit railfans.ca. We'll continue to explore the future of transit in Canada, and we'll look forward to having you along for the journey.